Just so you know, I'm not going to take sides. Message received. Loud and clear. Good, because I don't like this one bit. You and Dave should be on the same team. Sorry, Trucy. Oh, she's really mad. Sorry, too. This is all my fault. This boy, things would never be the same between Daddy and Apollo. If they go through with this, that's all. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. That's the way it is with us men. We may fight, but we don't burn bridges. Really? So, 1 minute we're trading blows, and the next we're having drinks together. We're simple creatures at heart. So I hope you're alright. Sorry I'm late, Apollo. Athena, there you are. What happened with you and Mr. White yesterday? Oh, about that. I ended up going to the wrong airport. I was waiting there thinking his flight was really late, and before I knew it, I dozed off. By the time I woke up, it was already dark. I figured something like that had happened. Being late and dozing off are the two things you do best. Guilty as charged. So then, I take it you have no idea what today's case is about? Not a clue. Sorry. What is today's case about, if I might ask? Another locked mystery? A suspect confirms the alibi? Ooh! Or a dying message? Sorry. Strike 3. You're out. It's a silver case. A silver case? You act like I'm speaking Swally here. It's just the White Agency specializes in criminal law, so I thought. In silver cases, there are no prosecutors, right? Instead, both parties retain an attorney. Right. And the other attorney is someone you know very well. Really? Who? The trial will begin shortly. Please proceed to the courtroom at once. Okay, let's do this. Apollo, wait. Who's the other attorney? And where's Mr. White? No time to explain. Let's go. Okay. Right behind you. Court is now in session. Oh, is this some sort of practice session? A mock trial, perhaps? No, it's not, Your Honor. It's the real deal, Your Honor. So that you two have had a falling out? I won't have you using my code for that, you know. It's nothing like that, Your Honor. Exactly. It just so happens that we have different clients in this case. I see. Well, here's to hoping this has no adverse effect on your working relationship. You can say that again. I had no idea we'd be going up against the boss today. Oh, sure, this is a good idea, Apollo. What? Want to switch sides? Honestly, I'd rather be anywhere but here right now. Well, at least he is here. I'm really going to need her help. Mr. Justice. Yes? Don't expect me to pull any punches just because you're the opposing lawyer. As I said, the kid gloves are off. And come what may, they're still off. Stay here, Mr. White. If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. You guys are really chopping at the bit, aren't you? I don't mind a good fight between co-workers. Let's keep this silver case civil. Now then, if the plaintiff will take the stand, we may begin. right, left. Halt. Noble judge, members of the gallery, good day to you. I am Paul Ashtian. This is all but the start of my epic campaign. You have the honor of witnessing it. I believe the youth of this country are our very future. Too long have they been looked down on and given the cold shoulder. So to them I say, ask not what you can do for your country, ask what you can do for me. Mr. Ashtian, what is that crazy contraption you're riding in? It's my custom-made election-winning campaign mobile. Beautiful, isn't it? You're at a witness stand, not a campaign podium, so come out of there this instant. Alright, now with the plaintiff's attorney, Mr. White. Please explain the complaint filed against the defendant. Mr. Ashton's complaint against the defendant is simple. The defendant, one Daruk Shadmati, stole my client's family heirloom, the crystal of Army Fae. Mr. Ashton merely seeks its return. This wouldn't have happened if that archaeologist hadn't kicked the bucket. I see. Well, Mr. Justice, let's have your opening statement if you would. The defense asserts the item in question is the Founder's Orb, a sacred relic from Kauaian. Go on. It seems someone asked an archaeologist, Dr. Archie Buff, to study the orb. Dr. Buff determined that it was a Kauaianese national treasure known as the Founder's Orb. The very orb that was stolen from a treasure room in Kauaian several weeks ago. Why, yes, I saw a news report about that. The theft of the Kauaianese national treasure caused quite an uproar in the kingdom. Well, we believe that it was not in fact a theft in the traditional sense, but rather that it was a spirited out Kauaian by someone for Dr. Buff to study. You don't say. And around that time, an acquaintance of the defendant learned of Dr. Buff and made a contact with the doctor who agreed to hand over the orb. Apparently, the doctor wanted nothing to do with it once he learned it had been stolen. It seems you even have a transfer agreement between both parties. Mr. Shadmati had also agreed to return the Founder's Orb to the Kingdom of Kauaian. Once the doctor verified it was the real thing. I see. So this dispute centers on whether the item in question is the Founder's Orb or the Crystal of Army Fae. That in turn will determine the object's rightful owner. I better bring my A game. Going up against Mr. White won't be a walk in the park. Come to think of it, the name Daruk Shadmati sounds awfully familiar. But I can't recall where I've heard it. Oh, it's probably your imagination, Your Honor. He's just a tourist after all. My imagination, you say? Are you sure about this, Apollo? He's a wanted criminal in Kauaian, isn't he? In Kauaian, yes. Here, he's just a tourist. Very well. Let's begin the proceedings. Bailiff, would you bring in the first witness? Emma? So some manners. We're in court. I know, it's just... This is a civil trial, so I was surprised to see a detective take the stand. I had to do some digging on Dr. Buff. What for? You disappoint me, Apollo. First, you know I'm not just a detective, I'm a forensic scientist. You try to remember that. Second, you owe Mr. White an apology. After all he's done for you, you have some nerve. First, I'm sorry, and second, I'm really just trying to do my job. You never get anywhere with that attitude. Take some advice from someone who's been there. Why do I feel like I'm on trial here? The Detective Sky, your testimony if you please. The police have had their eyes on Dr. Buff for some time. And just today, a number of stolen artifacts were discovered in his study. Among them was a priceless urn and a statue that was stolen from the Fae clan. It seems the doctor would do anything to study artifacts, including steal them. As for the relic at the center of this dispute, he likely stole it from the Ashdene residence. Ashdene residence. The doctor is a thief? Why am I just hearing about this now? Well, cat burglar isn't something he put on his resume. He was more careful than that. The fact is, he was a classic treasure hunter. Treasure hunter, huh? Like people who have thrilling adventures in exotic places, risking life and live for glory? I doubt Dr. Buff was the star of his own hit movie series, Athena. Out of respect for the dead, I would say that Dr. Buff wasn't doing it to get rich. Apparently, he only wanted to borrow artifacts to study them. He would then return them as soon as his research was finished. According to the doctor's child, he would even repair or restore some of the artifacts he stole before returning them. He believed he was honoring the dead by discovering their history through artifacts. Whatever lofty ideals he held, it makes no difference. Larceny is larceny. Yes, he certainly sounds no different from a regular thief to me. So, let's say for a moment that the doctor really did moonlight in stealing artifacts. Might he not have stolen the founder's orb in Korea and brought it back here himself? Nope. There's no record of him traveling overseas over the past few years. Plus, he can very well leave his reclusive child at home all alone. Then he must be the Crystal Army Fae. Yes, he stole it from the Ashdene resident's body so he could study it. The left hook I did not need. I bet you never saw that coming, Apollo. Yeah, when Mr. White said the kid gloves were off, he wasn't kidding. Mr. Justice, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Police have had their eyes on Dr. Buff for some time, and just today a number of stolen artifacts were discovered in his study. Among them was a priceless urn and a statue that was stolen from the Fae clan. It seems the doctor would do anything to study artifacts, including steal them. As for the relic at the center of this dispute, he likely stole it from the Ashdene residence.
Hold it!
You claim he stole a family heirloom from the Ashdene residence? But claiming something doesn't make it true. Unfortunately, it is true. How can you be so sure? A police report was filed concerning the theft. 1 year ago, in fact. What? A whole year ago? August 25th of last year, to be exact. The report states, and I quote, the Crystal Army Fae was discovered to be missing from the Ashdene storehouse at 10 a.m. The storehouse lock had been picked. Signed, Paul Ashdene, Wimpelson. Well, a year-old report certainly lends the plaintiff's claim credits. The doctor really could have stolen the Crystal Army Fae. Not only that, Your Honor, but the founder's orb was only found to be missing several weeks ago. It is nearly a year after the crystal theft was reported. Therefore, I believe we must consider the orb and the crystal to be two separate items. Paul Ashdene, listen, the most awe-inspiring tail end, isn't I see why he cut it. Did he inspire his confidence without it? So I'll probably do the same in his shoes. Police report was filed about the crystal theft a year ago. The theft of the Founder's Orb was only reported a few weeks ago, so the Christmas police report was filed way before the orb was found missing. It suggests that someone working the Crystal of Army Fae as Miss... It suggests that the stolen relic is the Crystal of Army Fae as Mr. Ashton Wimpleson asserts. I doubt the police report is a fake. After all, Emma is the one who submitted it as evidence. Still, I feel like something we learned in that police report is important somehow. The police have had their eyes on Dr. Buff for some time. Yesterday, a number of stolen artifacts were discovered in his study. Wagner was a priceless urn. And a statue that was stolen from the Fae clan. It seems the doctor would do anything to study artifacts, including steal them. As for the wreck at the center of this dispute, likely stolen from the Astrian residents.
Objection!
Doctor stole the wreck from the plaintiff? Are you sure? Because that statement doesn't agree with a certain piece of evidence. What do you mean? Take a look at this. What about it? This contains an email from the doctor's computer. Email? In that little piece of plastic? I'm afraid I don't understand. Oh, this figure can store all sorts of computer data. I still don't get it. Here, take a look at this. Apparently, the doctor was appointing his research findings to a certain individual. Now take a look at this. It's a police report detectives can present to this court. Paul Ashton Wimpleson. I can see why he dropped Wimpleson from his name, and that's hardly breaking news. We're closer, Your Honor. Gah! His initials. Right. The plaintiff's full legal name is Paul Ashton Wimpleson. Now consider this. The email's website address starts with 3 letters. P-A-W. Don't tell me. Oh, but I will anyway. The individual who hired the doctor to sell the disputed item is none other than Paul Ashton Wimpleson. Wait, then that means... Exactly. He wouldn't have asked the man who stole his family heirloom to study it. Therefore, how could this possibly be the Crystal of Army Fae? Check the doctor's emails. He can even figure out the password to his computer. The plaintiff willingly left the orb in the doctor's care so he could study it, at the behest of his benefactor. Wait, what about the police report? I have all the details of the theft right here. It's probably for another relic, the real crystal of Army Faye. He's just using your point as a way to claim that our orbit actually his stolen crystal.
Objection!
And how are you so certain that Paul refers to my client's initials? Maybe the emails recipient was a dog lover. Perhaps. So let's get to know your client a little better, Sally. Mr. Paul Ashton Wimpleson. I suppose shutting down the tractors is all part of a politician's job. Answer me this, Mr. Ashton Wimpleson. What is... What is your birthday? Birthday? July 7th, but what's it to you? Oh, I see. You can address birthday gifts to my office. But for disclosure, I only accept gifts valued at $1,000 or more. Why has everyone gone silent? How can anyone be so that self-centered? Alright, politician. Did everyone hear that? He said July 11th. July 11th or rather 7-11. Matches the numbers in the email address. Both the name and the birthday are matched. I hardly think that's a coincidence. Right. Oh, you sneaky little. Looks like someone finally decided to join the conversation. Would the plaintiff care to explain? I would like to say it is quite what? Quite thing, you said. Any other thoughts? No further comments. I stand by my previous statement.
Hold it!
You can't just walk away. Even politicians have to explain themselves in a court of law. I'm afraid I simply don't know how it happened. I can't possibly explain matters outside of my purview. Perhaps it was a mistake on the part of my secretary. Oh, no you don't, you slippery eel. Mr. White, would you care to respond? I won't argue your assertion. My client lent the Treasure Crescent to the doctor and asked him to study it. It seems that much is a fact. Now we're getting somewhere. However, it has no bearing on the issues of ownership. How so? Mr. Ashton, I fully understand your position here. You had to hide the fact that you sent the crystal out to be studied. Your family would have been very upset if they had found out. It's a family heirloom after all. You gotta be kidding me! Mr. White is... well, right, of course. Then he always is, that's why he's my lawyer. The crystal is a precious family heirloom and has been for centuries. Dr. Buff was so eager to study its proud heritage, I just couldn't say no. I didn't even tell my grandfather.
Objection!
And in order to earn the backing of your so-called benefactor, you're going to give what you claim to be the crystal of Army Faye to that person. You're going to give a precious family heirloom away, just like that. I was going to explain everything to grandfather later. Honest! My client's grandfathers are very proud of his grandson for following in his footsteps. And if refusing him would have meant dashing the dreams of his darling grandson, I thought the kindly old man could have said no. Well, grandchildren are meant to be spoiled. That's what grandfathers are for. Your Honor, please. I mean, it's been in the family for centuries. My grandfather thinks highly of my talent as a politician. That's why he entrusted me with this very important name place called today.
So I'm sure he would have been okay with me using the crystal as I saw fit. Grandpa's spoiled little brat. I think the judge is buying it, Apollo. No surprise there. He's always going on about his own grandchild after all. Excuse me, can I leave now, Mr. White? I believe my work here is done. By all means, Detective Sky. Thank you for your assistance. You're welcome. It's nice to testify at a silver trial for once in a while. See you around. It seems the facts have changed somewhat. Mr. Ashton Wimperson apparently lent his family heirloom to Dr. Buff. Mr. Justice, how would the defense like to proceed? Oh, alright, now what? Apollo, let's hear what they know about this so-called crystal of Army Fae. Maybe we can find some inconsistencies in those statements. Right. Okay then, Mr. White, if the item in question really is an Ashton family heirloom, then let's hear all your client knows about it. Of course. Mr. Ashton Wimperson, please tell the defense everything you know about the crystal's origin. Alright, now then listen and learn. This is the tale of the crystal of Army Fae and the illustrious history of the Ashton clan. Are you ready? Our story begins back in the old country when the Ashton family reigned supreme. My ancestor was praised as a benevolent ruler. He protected the spirit medium's minority back then from the rest of the locals. Some discriminated against them, you see, while others tried to abuse their power. As thanks, Army Fae gave the crystals he had previously made as a gift to him. I'm a descendant of that great lord. I sense my political power and influence is backed by centuries of history. Well, that evolved into a great load of self-advertising propaganda fast. As you can see, the crystal of Army Fae is an heirloom of the esteemed House of Astrian. And you have proof that it was always been in the Astrian family? I have someone who gave a statement to that effect. My client's neighbor, one Ives Sieto, age 85, gave the following statement. The Astrians showed me the crystal back when I was but a lad.
Objection!
Can we really trust the memory of an old man? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain that statement to the judge? Oh, I didn't mean... What I'm trying to say is, never underestimate the memory of your elders. I may forget my verdicts the next day, but the memories of my past are clear as day. Therefore, I find Mr. Ives Sieto's statement to be perfectly credible. Wow, did you see how Mr. Wright got the judge on his side? That's definitely a trick I want up my sleeve. You're not helping, Athena. You may cross-examine the witness, Mr. Justice. My ancestor was praised as a benevolent ruler. He protected the spirit mediums, a minority back then, from the rest of the locals. Some discriminated against them, you see, while others tried to abuse their power. As thanks, Army Fae gave the crystals he had specifically made as a gift to him.
Objection!
You said that Army Fae had the crystal made for your ancestor. So am I to assume it was made in Japan? That's right. The craftsmanship is unbeatable. Well, that's strange. I don't see how your so-called crystal could have been made there. What are you talking about? It's got eyes if you take a closer look at this.
Take that!
Take a look at the distinctive design here. According to Dr. Buff, it's a Matama motif dating back to the early days of the Kingdom of Korian. The Kingdom of Korian. And you base this on... Here. This piece of evidence, Your Honor. These are the doctor's research notes on the Founder's Orb. This is the box in which the orb was originally stored. It features the same pattern as the one found on the orb. They do look like the same pattern. Therefore, I assert that this new eye must have been made in the Kingdom of Korian. I'm on my place, Korian.
Objection!
Korian channeling technique originated in the Kingdom of Korian. Yami face notes have traveled there to train. With that in mind, what's to say she didn't bring that pattern back with her?
Objection!
But since this is clearly a Kyoanese design, then even you can deny the possibility that it was made there in the Kingdom of Korian.
Objection!
Anything possible to some extent, that doesn't make it true. You can't conclude that the orb is from the King from Korian based solely on that pattern. Well, that's simple. Why could this as easily say it's Japanese? Mr. White, the pattern alone proves nothing. That also means there's no basis to claim the island dispute was made in Japan either. At this rate, we're going nowhere fast. He's right, we're just spinning our wheels here. I wonder if we have any evidence that could break the stalemate. Any evidence that could break the stalemate? There doesn't seem to be anything we can use, at least not at this point. Well, unless we can find something, this far won't be going anywhere. That's much better. What's his deal? I have a suggestion. Why don't we consider this from a different angle? I'm listening. What if the Defiant Dragons really were authorized to take possession of the relic? I'm afraid I don't know where you're going with this, Mr. White. Consider the orb transfer agreement, which states, I agree to hand over the Founder's Orb to the Defiant Dragons if I will come to no harm. What if, as the last part suggests, this was written under duress? That would render the agreement null and void. What are you suggesting, Mr. White? While you were on your little cave expedition, I was investigating Dr. Buff's accident. And there was something you overlooked, Mr. Justice. Namely, that his accident might have actually been murder. What? Murder? Mr. White, you do realize that statements are not to be made lightly. Are you suggesting the doctor was murdered by the Defiant Dragons? Yes, but follow me on this for a sec. The books that came tumbling down were from the archaeology cell. However, among that mountain of books is a single volume on psychology. What's more, there was some blood on it. You feel this is important because the books that came tumbling down were from the top shelf, the archaeology. archaeology books. And it's because the doctor's books were meticulously organized by subject. Archaeology took up the entire shelf, so that psychology book is completely out of place. The shelves were arranged quite carefully. It's also worth knowing that psychology books only take up a tiny part of the bottom shelf. You might wonder why a book on psychology was found amidst the pile of archaeology books. I believe I can explain what that single out-of-place book was doing there. The doctor was struck from behind while selecting a psychology book from the shelf. And that's when the blood got on the book? Precisely. And to make it look like an accident, he was buried under a mountain of archaeology book.
Objection!
Wait a second. This is all just speculation, right? Oh, you have proof that it was murder. Of course I do. You do. On a hunt, I had Detective Sky examine the doctor's head wound. He found that he'd been struck by the corner of some object or another. Wait, what? A wound like that couldn't have resulted from a fall to the floor, you know. Do you understand what that means, Mr. Justice? It would make it crystal clear that Dr. Buff was murdered. Well, that was unexpected. Who'd have thought we'd break out of this stalemate like this? Put the ladder right out from under us. Still, if he thinks that's enough to make me back down, he's got another thing coming. Even if the cause of death was murder, what makes you think it was the Defiant Dragons? You should know better than to hold baseless accusations.
Objection!
You forget who you were up against, Mr. Justice? Huh? You didn't actually think I'd come to court without witness and evidence, did you? What are you talking about? I'd like to request further testimony from the plaintiff. Specifically, I'd like the court to hear how he saw one of the rebels leaving the crime scene. He saw what? We can prove it was murder. That's the end of our client's road to the orb. Did he have this up his sleeve the whole time? Just like do this to us. He was just waiting to spring this trap. This trial has taken another unexpected turn. But I must mention, Mr. Wright, that you have yet to identify the murder weapon. The object used to commit this murder was not located at the scene of the crime. The murderer will likely dispose of it elsewhere. Well, I never thought I would be deliberating this your murder at a civil trial. All right, Mr. Ashton Wilkerson, your testimony, if you please. Prepare to be dazzled by charismatic orientation forwards in the crucible of campaign battles. That evening, I was walking alone, lost in thought. I passed by the doctor's house, and that's when I saw Mr. Turnabout. He was running out of the front door. It was around 10 at night. Surely that must have been him fleeing the scene of his crime. A vote for me is a vote to end such violence. That is my promise to you. So the plaintiff saw a possible suspect fleeing from the doctor's residence. It was within the window of the estimated time of death. That's terrible. Wonder what were you doing there, lad? It seems Mr. Erbo was loitering around Caroline Village that day. There's evidence he was in the doctor's study as well. Isn't that right, Mr. Justice? You mean the suitcase? Exactly. You must have been in quite a rush to leave that behind. And by the way, Your Honor, Mr. Elba just so happens to be sitting in the gallery today. See? That's him trying to escape as we speak. Bailiff, don't let that man get away. Alright, you backstabber! Why are you doing this to me? Alright. The counsel/defense may question the plaintiff/witness once more. Please proceed, Mr. Justice. That evening, I was walking alone, lost in thought. I passed by the doctor's house, and that's when I saw Mr. Arable.
Hold it!
Where exactly were you when you saw Mr. Arable? Right here, under this tree. I saw him dashing out of Dr. Buff's front door. And he didn't notice you? No, I was hidden by the tree. Is it really all that important to know from where the plaintiff saw Mr. Arable? Yes, I believe it matters a lot. I ask that it please be added to the witness's testimony. I was under this tree when I saw Mr. Arable. He was running out the front door.
Hold it!
Did you notice anything unusual? Yes, his behavior was incredibly suspicious. His eyes were darting all around as he ran off in total panic. As soon as I saw that, I knew he had done something and it probably wasn't good. Despite that, you shouldn't report it to the police. Who would have thought he had killed Dr. Buff? Not me, that's why I didn't report it. So the witness didn't notify the police? Is that an important statement, Mr. Justice? Yes, it's important. I request that the witness add to his testimony. Sure, why not? I had no idea that Dr. Buff was dead. That's why I didn't call the police.
Objection!
Mr. Ashton Wimpleson, rather than Mr. Arable, wasn't there something else that should have had your undivided attention? Like what? Oh, yes, of course. Fatherson must also keep his finger on the electrogate's pulse. Sorry, but you're way off. I am? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? If the witness saw Mr. Arable from his position here, then he should have also been able to see the doctor's body. After all, it was right next to a huge window. Why, I believe you have a point there. With the body that clearly visible to the witness, it's unthinkable that he wouldn't have reported to the police. Did the witness get to respond? Did he fall asleep? Mr. Ashton Wimpleson? Mr. Ashton Wimpleson! Huh? How many sets that issue? What did I ever do to deserve this? In any case, I'd like the court to acknowledge the inconsistency in the witness's testimony. Mr. Ashton Wimpleson, did you really see Mr. Arable? Yes. you think you're going? I thought I would turn to my seat seeing as I had already answered the question. This is some small time on the debate, so you just stay right there until I say we're through. I have to run that by my campaign manager before.
Objection!
Mr. Ashton Ripperson, I think it's time for you to come clean. Huh? So then, does that mean he didn't see Mr. Arable? As your lawyer, Mr. Ashton Ripperson, I advise you divulge that matter we discussed. Science is no longer an option. Are you sure about this? I'm in the midst of running for office. I can't afford to let any strange rumors get out. Don't worry. You won't suffer any blowback for what you're about to reveal. Blowbacks? I'm not sure I like the sound of that, Mr. White. Not to worry, Your Honor. Nothing untoward will come of this, I promise. Now then, Mr. Justice. Remember how it was an anonymous car that would put the doctor's death? To think of it. Who was the first one to discover the body? About that. Whoever it was, it seems they wanted to remain anonymous. What? It happens now and then. Some people would rather not get involved with the police. Wait, you're not saying that. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The anonymous source who contacted the police after discovering the body was my client, Mr. Paul Ashton Wimperson. What? You don't say. So you see, he played his part as a concerned citizen, quite admirably if I may say so. Isn't that right? Yes, indeed. Our society today, there are too many who choose indifference over righteous actions. But I don't mind but I don't number among them. That's why I did my duty as a concerned citizen. Some might call me the moral citizen, one worthy of standing above the rest. The worst standard bearer he is, reporting it anonymously. Oh, by the way, Mr. Justice. Wasn't there someone else at the scene of the crime when my client discovered the body? You mean Mr. Arable? He would have been leaving the doctor's office right around then. Right. That means... Yes, it does. In short... Well, my client witnesses Mr. Arable fleeing the scene of a heinous murder. That's all. Based on what we've heard so far, Mr. Arable looked excessively suspicious, and that's putting it mildly. I know that the fine dragons threaten the doctor of bodily harm. And now that they've killed him, the so-called Orb Transfer Agreement is null and void. Apollo, you know, come up with some sort of counter-argument. And what sort of evidence do you have? Can you actually prove there was Mr. Arable who killed the doctor? You've had desperate written all over it. That's all I've got, so I'm going with it. Evidence? I suppose it's true that I don't have any. I knew it. But I do have another witness. You do? You should know I always come fully prepared, Mr. Justice. And now my new witness will provide testimony proving Mr. Arable's guilt. New witness? I wonder who it could be. Very well. Bailiff, please summon our new witness. In the meantime, the court will take a brief recess. I'd like both sides to use this time to prepare properly. Understood? Well, I knew this one would put up a tough fight, but... yeah, this one I thought we had it. He turned the tables on us. It really is the Turnabout Tower. Can't let him blindside us again. Looks like they've got me again. 3 times in 1 year, that's a new record. That's please, no more new records or bad puns while you're at it. It's hard enough trying to help you as is. Odds of that, I'll be more careful next time. That is what Mr. White said, true. Really paid himself to buff for that night. So I did, can't remember the exact time though. All I know is he wouldn't hand over the orb. Someone put it in his head that we rebels were dangerous. That's why he threw me out. So the doctor was still alive when Dad last saw him. We'll still have to prove it though. Better brace yourself, son. The next witness assessment can make or break this case. Yeah, I know. Hey, where's Trucy? So let's go see her dad. Maybe she's still mad. Or like worried. Worried that this trial will create a rift between you two. That you might then leave the agency. She has an active imagination. Excuse me. The trial will be resuming shortly. Let's go see what new testimonies await us.